Life is a series of complex interactions, a web of relationships, and an ongoing negotiation of values. Rejection, whether in love, friendship, or even a fleeting encounter, is an inevitable part of this tapestry. But silence, that cold void left in the aftermath, can inflict wounds deeper than rejection itself. Today, I want to challenge you to think about the responsibility you bear in the moments after you reject someone. Rejection is a natural outcome of conflicting desires, incompatible paths, or mismatched expectations. But silence? Silence is a deliberate action or inaction that denies resolution. It leaves the other person stranded, questioning their worth and the validity of their emotions. Silence acts as an amplifier of doubt. When you refuse to respond, you force the other person into an echo chamber of self-criticism, where every flaw feels magnified and every hope feels foolish. This isn't about avoiding discomfort, it's about understanding the damage you inflict when you choose not to communicate. To reject someone is to express your truth. To follow that rejection with silence is to withhold a greater truth, closure. You owe the people you encounter more than a closed door, you owe them the dignity of explanation. Even a few words can soften the blow and free them from the prison of uncertainty. When you silence someone, you strip them of their voice, but you also deny yourself the growth that comes from engaging with their perspective. Relationships, no matter how brief, are opportunities for mutual understanding. Silence is a refusal of that opportunity. When handled with honesty and compassion, rejection can be a powerful tool for growth. It can provide clarity, direction, and even resilience. But only if the rejection is accompanied by communication. Your words can help someone understand that the end of one path may be the beginning of another. It's easy to disappear, to ghost, to avoid. But ease is not synonymous with right. Choosing to communicate, to explain, and to offer closure is not just an act of kindness, it's an act of courage. And in that courage, you affirm the humanity of both yourself and the other person. In the moments after rejection, your silence is not neutral, it is harmful. Speak, not to erase the pain but to lessen its sting. Speak, not to change your mind but to honor their heart. And in doing so, you will not only help them heal but also become the kind of person who faces life's complexities with integrity and compassion. Rejection is a part of life, an inevitable result of differing priorities, desires, or circumstances. It is something that everyone encounters, whether in relationships, careers, or everyday interactions. However, while rejection is often unavoidable, the choice to remain silent afterward is not. Silence in the face of rejection carries its own set of consequences, often far more harmful than the initial act of rejection itself. It leaves a void where understanding and resolution could have existed, fostering uncertainty and pain for the person on the receiving end. When someone is rejected, they may feel hurt or confused, but they are still anchored to a moment of clarity, they know where they stand. Silence, on the other hand, introduces ambiguity. It prevents them from making sense of the situation, leaving them to fill the gaps with assumptions and doubts. Was it something they said? Something they did? Or perhaps something about who they are at their core? This internal questioning often spirals into self-doubt, eroding confidence and self-esteem. Choosing silence might feel like avoiding discomfort or confrontation, but in reality, it shifts the emotional burden entirely onto the other person. The absence of communication deprives them of closure, making it difficult for them to process their emotions and move forward. Silence is not a neutral act, it is a decision that communicates disregard. And in those moments, the person you have rejected is left not only to contend with rejection itself but with the profound emptiness that silence brings. The psychological toll of silence after rejection is profound and far-reaching. When someone is met with silence, they are forced into a space of uncertainty where their mind becomes the battlefield for endless self-doubt. The absence of communication leaves them with no clear answers, and in this void, their thoughts often turn inward, dissecting every interaction and scrutinizing every detail for signs of inadequacy. This mental spiral is not just a momentary discomfort, it is a deeply unsettling experience that can affect their sense of self-worth. Silence amplifies the pain of rejection by creating an unresolved narrative. Humans seek meaning in their experiences, and when meaning is absent, they construct their own, often in ways that are self-critical. They may interpret the silence as a confirmation of their worst fears, that they are unworthy, unlovable, or fundamentally flawed. These thoughts can linger long after the initial rejection, shaping their interactions and perceptions in ways that are difficult to reverse. This psychological impact isn't limited to romantic relationships, it extends to friendships, professional connections, and even casual encounters. Silence sends a message of dismissal, as though the other person's feelings, efforts, or presence are not worth acknowledging. This perceived lack of value can have lasting effects, making the rejected person hesitant to put themselves forward again. In choosing silence, the rejecting party avoids discomfort at the expense of leaving another person in a state of emotional limbo, struggling to reconcile their experience with their sense of self. Communication in the aftermath of rejection is not merely an act of politeness, it is a moral obligation. To reject someone is to assert your own truth, to express that your path or desires differ from theirs. This is a necessary part of life's interactions, but it is incomplete without the follow-through of explanation. Silence may feel like an escape from awkwardness, but it leaves the rejected party burdened with unanswered questions and unspoken pain, denying them the closure they need to move forward. Acknowledging someone's effort, vulnerability, or interest by providing clarity is a fundamental act of respect. It recognizes their humanity and the courage it took for them to put themselves out there. Communication in these moments doesn't need to be lengthy or complex, even a few kind and honest words can convey understanding and empathy. This small act of transparency can have an immense impact, helping the other person process the situation and begin to heal. Moreover, withholding communication does more than hurt the person being rejected, it also diminishes the one who rejects. Avoidance, while seemingly convenient, fosters a habit of evasion rather than confrontation. It weakens one's ability to handle difficult conversations with grace and integrity. Taking the step to communicate after rejection, on the other hand, cultivates a sense of accountability. It is an opportunity to align one's actions with values of compassion and honesty, offering the rejected person the dignity they deserve while fostering personal growth in the one rejecting. Silence after rejection does more than leave questions unanswered, it dehumanizes both the rejected person and the one who chooses silence. By retreating into silence, the rejecting party denies the other person the opportunity to process their emotions with clarity and understanding. This absence of acknowledgement reduces the person on the receiving end to an object of avoidance rather than an individual deserving respect and empathy. It communicates that their feelings, effort, and humanity are not worth the discomfort of a response. For the one who chooses silence, the impact is equally significant. In avoiding communication, they shut down the possibility of meaningful engagement, robbing themselves of the growth that comes from facing challenging conversations. Relationships, whether fleeting or enduring, are spaces for mutual learning and understanding. Rejecting someone without explanation is a missed opportunity to reflect on your values, preferences, and the way you communicate with others. It perpetuates a cycle of emotional distance, where avoiding discomfort takes precedence over cultivating integrity and self-awareness. Moreover, silence erodes the connection between individuals, even in contexts where rejection is inevitable. It sends an implicit message that resolving the emotional aftermath is not a shared responsibility but something the other person must handle alone. This lack of interaction reinforces isolation and misunderstanding on both sides, preventing any possibility of mutual respect or closure. In choosing silence, one does not only protect their own comfort but also forfeits the chance to affirm their shared humanity with the other person. Rejection, when done with clarity and compassion, has the potential to be a powerful gift. While the experience of rejection itself is never pleasant, the way it is communicated can offer an opportunity for growth, self-reflection, and even deeper understanding. When rejection is followed by a few thoughtful words, it transforms from a moment of pain into one of potential insight. The rejected person gains not only clarity but a deeper sense of closure, which allows them to move forward without being trapped in a loop of unanswered questions. This act of communication offers more than a simple explanation. It provides the space for the individual to understand that rejection is not a personal failing but often a matter of circumstance, compatibility, or timing. When someone is rejected with care, it helps them process the event with less self-blame and more self-awareness. They are able to reflect on the situation from a place of understanding rather than confusion, which enables emotional resilience and growth. This clarity can even open the door to personal development, allowing them to recognize their own needs, boundaries, and desires with more confidence moving forward. Furthermore, rejection done right fosters respect between both parties. It recognizes the other person's humanity and emotional investment while providing the dignity of explanation. The rejected individual may not feel immediately happy, but they will feel respected, heard, and seen, a fundamental part of maintaining their self-worth. This respectful closure, rather than leaving emotional wounds unresolved, has the power to guide them to healthier perspectives and future opportunities. In the aftermath of rejection, silence is not just the absence of words, it is a deliberate choice that can carry with it profound emotional consequences. It leaves the rejected person lost in a fog of uncertainty, struggling with their self-worth, wondering what went wrong, and questioning their very value. Rejection, in itself, is painful enough, but silence compounds that pain, fostering a sense of isolation and neglect. The simple act of communicating, even in difficult moments, has the power to transform rejection from a wound into a learning experience. It provides clarity, closure, and an opportunity for emotional growth, not just for the one being rejected, but for the person doing the rejecting as well. We must remember that communication is not just a tool for connection, but a moral responsibility. To withhold that communication is to deny the other person their dignity and the chance to understand, process, and move forward. In choosing to speak with empathy and clarity after rejection, we affirm the humanity of others and create an environment where emotional healing and growth can take place. It is an act of courage, kindness, and integrity that benefits everyone involved. Thank you for taking the time to listen and engage with this message. I hope it serves as a reminder of the power we all hold in our interactions, and the responsibility we carry in the moments of discomfort and difficulty. May you approach every relationship, every interaction, and every rejection with the awareness that your words and actions can either heal or harm. Wishing you all the best as you continue your journey of growth, empathy, and connection. Thank you again, and take care.